Oklahoma teen walks free after facing 80 years for brutal sexual assaults. Lawmaker demands investigation. An Oklahoma teenager who was once facing up to 80 years behind bars for a string of violent sexual assaults has walked free, sparking outrage across the state and calls for an investigation into how justice could fail so badly. 18-year-old Mack Butler was accused of committing a series of horrific assaults against two high school girls, one of whom nearly died from strangulation. Despite the brutality of the crimes and the life-altering trauma inflicted on the victims, Butler avoided prison time after his case was quietly reclassified under Oklahoma's Youthful Offender Program. Oklahoma State Representative Justin Humphrey is now calling for an official probe, saying the lenient outcome sends a dangerous message to victims and the public alike. This young man should be serving serious prison time for what he did, Humphrey said. Instead, he's walking free while his victims live with scars for life. The system failed these girls. Court records show that 18-year-old Mack Butler was initially charged as an adult with multiple felony counts, including 2 counts of attempted rape, 3 counts of rape by instrumentation, 1 count of sexual battery, 1 count of forcible oral sodomy, 2 counts of domestic assault and battery by strangulation, and 1 count of domestic assault and battery. According to investigators, one of the victims was subjected to repeated sexual assaults over time. She told police Butler would strangle her whenever she resisted, leaving her with severe injuries that required surgery to repair her neck. A medical examiner determined that she was only about 30 seconds away from death during one of the attacks. Initially, Butler pled not guilty, but in a controversial deal with prosecutors, his case was transferred from adult court to juvenile court, granting him youthful offender status. The change drastically reduced the severity of his sentence and shielded him from adult penalties, meaning he will serve no time in a state prison. For the victims and their families, the decision was a devastating blow. "It feels like what he did doesn't matter," one family member said. "He gets a second chance at life. My daughter doesn't." The ruling has fueled growing criticism of how the Oklahoma criminal justice system handles violent crimes committed by teens close to adulthood. Many argue that the youthful offender designation was intended to rehabilitate non-violent juveniles, not shield those accused of heinous sexual assaults. "This was not a mistake or a minor offense," Rep. Humphrey said. "These were deliberate, violent attacks. To call this justice is an insult to every victim of sexual assault." Advocates for victims' rights have also condemned the decision, warning it could discourage survivors from coming forward if they believe their attackers will escape meaningful punishment. Social media has erupted with anger, with users demanding accountability from the district attorney's office and the courts. Some have called for a review of all cases where serious offenders have benefited from the youthful offender loophole. Under Oklahoma law, individuals between 13 and 17 charged with serious crimes can sometimes be tried as adults. However, prosecutors can request to reclassify them as youthful offenders, which allows for probation, counseling, or juvenile detention instead of prison. In Butler's case, the change came after a plea agreement, one critics now describe as a gross miscarriage of justice. "This isn't rehabilitation, it's erasure," said a local victims advocate. "The system just told these girls that their pain doesn't count because their attacker is young. That's not justice, that's betrayal." As outrage builds, Rep. Humphrey has vowed to pursue legislative changes to prevent similar cases in the future. "We must close the loopholes that allow violent predators to walk free under the guise of rehabilitation. Justice in Oklahoma should protect victims, not offenders." For now, Mack Butler remains free, while the 2 young women he assaulted continue to recover physically and emotionally from a nightmare that nearly took one of their lives.